History Now this morning. We now present For the Record with Neil Heinen.
A conversation with University of Wisconsin-Platteville Chancellor Dennis Shields is next on For the Record. Thanks for joining us. I'm Neil Heinen. Dennis Shields is in his 9th year as Chancellor at Platteville, and a lot has gone on in that time, but also in the system as a whole. There have been mergers and budget changes and innovation challenges, and UW-Platteville has responded and is responding. And I welcome to For the Record the Chancellor of the UW-Platteville, Dennis Shields. Chancellor,
Thank you, Neil.
Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure.
And you're the first guest on the new set for the Record.
Well,
what an honor.
Thank you so much for being here.
You know, for people who don't know, who haven't been to Grant County in a while, Grant County itself has changed a lot in the last decade, but Platteville in particular has really grown. Talk about some of that growth.
Well, you know, we went from, now this predates, if we start around 2001,
Yep.
we went from about 4,000, 4,500 students to almost 8,000. My predecessor, David Marquis, had great success in he built a new student center, new engineering hall, and after I arrived, we built 2 residence halls, added 1,000 beds. So physically, the campus looks much different.
Was it at 8,000 when you started? Was that?
No, it was about 6,800.
Okay.
Yeah, and part of what's worked is that while the number of Wisconsin residents that have enrolled there grew fairly significantly, but also students from Iowa and Illinois. We had a tri-state program, which actually made it a very attractive place for them to come from. So a lot more students from out of state than 15 years ago.
So is it a little bit of everything, Chancellor? The changing demographic, the number of kids that were looking for a college, the additional facilities and college atmosphere, majors.
Well, engineering exploded.
Yeah.
There's a huge need for engineering. We have a long-standing program that springs from the mining school from over a century ago. Great leadership in that school, and a great demand for our graduates by business and industry because of the hands-on learning experience they have there. But criminal justice grew significantly, and agriculture. A lot of people don't know we have a farm. We have a 400-acre farm that's a production farm, 200 dairy cows, a lot of pigs. I'm an old small-town Iowa kid. I didn't grow up on farms, but I grew up in farm country in Iowa, and so it's one of the first places I visited when I came to Platteville was the farm.
Several years ago, we had on, I believe, the dean of the UW-Platteville School of Agriculture, and it was fascinating because the modernization, the innovation, the technology that plays a role in that now is really fascinating.
Well, it's not just the actual farming, but it's ag business, and a lot of our students come for that experience and the hands-on opportunity they have to work with our faculty and industry.
Right. There's a pretty good broadcast engineering component to the school, isn't there? I think we've had a lot of UW-Platteville students come here.
That has shrunk considerably. That was one area that has not seen the growth. Although I know every time I've spent the last 4 years visiting a lot of the cities and towns in southwest Wisconsin, and every radio station, every newspaper, they're all populated by pioneers.
You know, that probably makes sense, though, because what used to be broadcast engineering is probably more now into information technology, and it's all computer-based stuff.
Right. So we have great social media training. We were talking before we came on about the impact of that.
So there's been construction, right? The new dorms, but also the last couple of budgets have...
Well, we were the only institution in the system in the last biennium to get a new building approved. And so what we're calling Sesquicentennial Hall, we're in the midst of planning that, a new modern $55 million engineering facility, we're very much a STEM school, so chemistry, biology. Our building was 40 years old. That building, Babel Hall, is getting a $23 million makeover, which will start this summer. Yeah. The facilities are part of the dynamic in higher education. This is a very dynamic time. Yeah. A lot of changes, a lot of challenges, but creating flexible space for students to collaborate, to work together, space that you can adjust is really important. And these two projects give us an opportunity to upgrade our facilities in a couple of areas that are core to our academic mission.
Well, and I want to get your perspective on how other campuses and Platteville are responding to some of those challenges, but maybe we could just start with having you talk about the collaborative integration plan, which was a response to some system-wide changes.
Well, the biggest challenge, there are things that sort of track, okay? So our institutions very much rely on the majority of their budget by the tuition and other revenue that we attract. We still get a significant amount of money from the state, but more than 65% of our budget is directly tied to what level our enrollment is. Now, the collaborative integration came along because the two-year campuses, many of them were really struggling with enrollment. And the idea was that by affiliating them with some of our four-year campuses, we could do things that would strengthen the enrollment and other things that are relevant to those schools. At Platteville, I remember when Ray Cross first called me, well before there was any public announcement, and felt me out about, well, what would you think? What would you think about that? And I said, well, actually, it actually works pretty well, because we had actually been to Richland Center and Baraboo several times in the preceding 3 years, talking with local business and industry and elected officials. And
both of them two-year campuses, right?
Yeah. For our purposes, for the campus at Platteville. So we had connections there, and we had significant numbers of alumni in those areas. So I was pretty optimistic about our ability to actually come and do some real helpful things in those two campuses. None of this is ever easy, but it actually has gone relatively smoothly. The accreditation process has gone smoothly. We've been well received by those two communities and those two campuses. We're developing programming that's specifically relevant in those areas. You know, Richland Center is a substantial ag industry area, so we're developing programming for that. There's great need in business and industry for other aspects, banking and training. And it's certainly in Baraboo, it's just over the hill from Wisconsin Dells, one of the biggest it's $1 billion tourism industry there. And our visit there to Wisconsin Dells, they were very excited about becoming engaged with us on a lot of different fronts. So I'm sure there will be some bumps in the road along the way, but I'm pretty pleased the way it's rolled out so far. It's a tribute to the great people in those communities and on those campuses, and the great team we have at Platteville.
Well, when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about enrollment, and then later on, we're going to talk about UW-Platteville's 5-year strategic plan with Chancellor Dennis Shields right after this.
Great.
For the Record, sponsored by MG&E, your community energy company.
5,000 years of Chinese music and dance in one night. Incredible, groundbreaking, a cultural phenomenon. A must-see. Shenyun. Coming to Overture Center for the Arts, May 7th and 8th. Tickets at shenyun.com/Madison or call 800-800-4410.
My fellow Americans, I stand before you today humbled because the President's Day sale at Denver Mattress has been extended. Find huge savings on our best mattresses, like $100 off any Denver Mattress Deluxe Line mattress, or save up to $500 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable sets. And for the budget-minded, get the Summit Queen, only $189.99, plus 5 years, no interest financing. But hurry, the extended President's Day sale at Denver Mattress ends Thursday.
money down the drain?
Well, I just got my wireless bill.
You can switch for free to U.S. Cellular.
Really?
And get a free phone when you switch.
Free phone? Oh,
Plus, get paid back for data you don't use with the Unlimited with Payback plan.
no way. All that money wasted at the wrong provider.
Right now at U.S. Cellular, there's no trade-in required to get a free Samsung Galaxy S9. Just switch to U.S. Cellular.
One steel bar and 700 pounds of dead weight versus one single loop of T-Rex brute force, the absolute strongest duct tape. The tape survives unscathed. The steel, not so much. T-Rex brute force is the absolute strongest duct tape. The unmatched strength of a single loop of tape holds more than 700 pounds. And with Forge Link technology, you can conquer the most ferocious challenges. Bite hard with T-Rex brute force.
My guest is Dennis Shields, the Chancellor of the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, and we are talking about pretty significant growth in Platteville over the last 9 years that Chancellor Shields has been in the job. And we were talking about enrollment, and it struck me that last year you said all other issues are smaller compared to this one. You know, that enrollment was the biggest issue. Now, with the collaborative integration, has that eased somewhat, or does that continue to be a major priority?
Oh, no, it's a major priority. What we're facing is a demographic challenge in that there are fewer high school graduates coming out every year. Last spring, I was invited to go give a commencement address at a high school in rural Wisconsin. Yeah. And it was great fun. And actually, the student speakers were much better than I was. But they're graduating class about 120 students. Other end of the pipeline, first graders, 60 students. And that's what we're facing over the next 5, 10 to 15 years. The urban areas are tending to grow, but the rural areas are facing real challenges that way. The collaborative integration gives us an opportunity to help address that. We can't create more students, but we can do things, I think, working closely with K through 12 to encourage a larger share of those students to pursue higher education, whether it's at a 2-year campus, a 4-year campus, or a technical college. You know, as we talk to business and industry, there's great need for workforce across the full spectrum, from technical to bachelor's trained professionals. So this gives us an opportunity to try to influence the system to be supportive of K through 12, to help them be successful. You know, we have a school of education. Part of our role as a comprehensive campus is to be stewards of place. That is, we should be helping the whole region thrive. And if there are issues that the region faces, then we should be a factor in that.
Like a teacher shortage?
A teacher shortage.
Yep.
The part of the challenge now is the digital revolution and getting it and the technology out into the rural areas so that it can address these things. The travel around the region, it is amazing the business and industry that is present in rural Wisconsin. Yeah. And
in addition to agriculture.
Right.
It's not just agriculture.
Right. And all of those businesses need workforce. I'm stunned at how international they are. I visited a seed manufacturer and in a neighboring community, and they grow their seed in the winter in Chile.
Yep.
And so that's part of what we need to do, and part of what we need to communicate with students and prospective students is the fabulous opportunities that are available that they're not even aware of in their own region.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say that every college, every university is thinking strategically about how to address the issues that you brought up.
Right.
UW-Stevens Point got a lot of attention for its approach, which had to do with the curriculum and not offering certain majors. Give me your perspective on that, Chancellor, and how that has influenced your thinking about what you're doing at Platteville.
Well, I think every institution has to be thinking not just next year and the year beyond, but how they're going to position themselves 5 years out and 10 years out. Yep. And it would be malpractice not to be looking at the array of programs that you offer and tweaking them. Sometimes it's tweaking them just by the way you describe them, because if students don't understand what that is, then they're not interested in it. We have one of those on my campus that has a real scary name, engineering physics. Oh. It just sounds real hard to me. That would
scare me.
But employers love it, and the students that are involved in it love it. It's some engineering, it's some process. It's great.
It's probably simpler than it sounds, right?
Well, I don't think it's simple, but it's very desperately needed. So we have to both market our programs in ways that make sense to this generation of students. We have to tweak the programs to meet the needs of business and industry. Now, that doesn't mean we're not going to teach history, because history is real important. It's not to say that we shouldn't have foreign languages or philosophy. I'm a lawyer. I have a real appreciation for what I learned from philosophy and how you think through the issues that are in front of us. Yeah. So enrollment is one of the major issues that we're addressing. And as with any strategic planning process, it's a continuum. So in our strategic planning process, we're not creating all new things. Several things we've been working on up to this point. For example, we make a tremendous investment in attracting the students. We want them to stay and graduate. So over the last 3 years, we have redoubled our efforts to understand the hurdles that students have to overcome, and some of them are academic. When people say, well, they're not being retained, is it they're not smart enough? A lot of times they're smart enough, but they're working 20 to 30 hours a week, or they have family issues, or they have mental health issues, or they have nutrition issues. I mean, one of the big issues in higher education now is that we're discovering that a lot of students don't have the resources to eat the way they should.
Food insecurity, right.
Now, we have a lot of resources in place to address those challenges, but unless we know when those challenges are confronting students, then they can slip through the cracks. So we've spent a lot of time on developing processes and programs that can address those needs. That's part of our strategic plan, but it's building on a foundation that we've already laid. We need to always be monitoring our academic programs, but we've been studying that for 2 or 3 years now, looking at data, looking into the future as to what the market needs are out there, and have begun making those adjustments moving forward. You know, also keeping in mind the needs of the region. So a little over a year ago, we had a healthcare provider summit where we tried to get all the hospitals, all the clinics from the region in the room to talk to us about what they think their needs are. And now we're developing programming to address that. If you can be relevant to business and industry and you can communicate that to students, then the enrollment follows. But a part of the real challenge is deciding, so what's the sweet spot? Because if you think, okay, we're going to be 8,000 and you build out your program for 8,000 students and it turns out to be 6,000, that's a problem. So part of what we're working with our strategic plan is, what size are we going to be? What's the optimum arrangement?
Well, when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about the process that you're going through for the strategic plan, and we will do that with Chancellor Dennis Shields right after this.
Great.
This is an exciting time in the energy industry.
The world is changing, and
We want to work toward common goals.
Toward a cleaner energy future, driven by innovation, powered by working together.
By working with customers, we provide customers what they want.
MG&E is your community energy company for the future, powering our community, sharing your values, partnering to meet your needs. Visit energy2030together.com to create a more sustainable future together.
Today was made for adventure in your new Jeep from Don Miller. The all-new 2019 Jeep Wrangler with Auto Show event savings. The Wrangler Unlimited Sport 4x4 with 8-speed automatic. It's trail rated. Lease $290 per month, 42 months, 10,000 miles per year. Get luxury and power in the 2019 Grand Cherokee Limited with heated seats and steering wheel. Lease $358 per month, 36 months, 10,000 miles a year. The President's Day sales event on now at Don Miller, Madison and Dane County's Jeep headquarters.
Don Miller.
boy, it's just what I thought. It's all going to have to come out.
Oh. Without dental insurance, paying the bill can be really expensive. After all, just a simple cleaning can cost $150. And other procedures like crowns and root canals can cost hundreds, even thousands more. But now you can get dental insurance for about $1 a day from Physicians Mutual Insurance Company. Call us for a free information kit. Our dental insurance helps cover over 350 procedures, everything from cleanings and fillings to crowns and dentures. Your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired or on Medicare. There are no deductibles and there's no annual maximum. Plus, you can see any dentist you choose. Take the pain out of big dental bills with Physicians Mutual. Call us now for your free information kit with all the details.
News 3 Now and Channel 3000 put top stories and breaking news at your fingertips. Video alerts and forecasts. Download the Channel 3000 app today.
I'm back with Dennis Shields, the Chancellor of the University of Wisconsin-Platteville. You were talking, Chancellor, about the healthcare summit that you had that was a success. A couple of weeks ago, the Wisconsin Bankers Association came to campus and I believe said that it was the best attended event that they had on a UW campus. I found that kind of interesting.
Well, we've been working very hard. We developed a function that you typically don't find on campuses like ours, the corporate relations function, where we've been reaching out intentionally to get business industry more engaged on our campus. It's something that folks may not be aware of, but many of the community-based banks historically were led by graduates of Platteville. So we have a strong connection with the banking industry in the state. So I'm not surprised it was well attended. You know, as we talk about strategic plan, I'd like to talk about it a couple of different ways. First of all, what's the process? And what's the end goal? One of the challenges with strategic planning is you put all this effort into it, you get this nice binder, and you get done, it goes on a shelf and no one looks at it from then. I'm committed to sort of say we want a more living document, one that really actually guides where we go. So the process started about a year ago where my senior team sat down and sort of said, what are some of the major themes that we should be addressing, and frame it up. Now we're in the stage where we're soliciting community, campus-based, stakeholder input on those things, and maybe we missed some. And we need that feedback.
I thought I saw about a dozen hearings and public.
So we're going to solicit as much input as we reasonably can, and then develop it from there. We have some themes. You know, obviously we're an academic institution, so we want to address our academic programming. Campus climate. What sort of experience are our students and our community, our university community, having? Corporate relations, continuing to build on the groundwork we've done to build strong ties with business and industry across the state. So we have those themes. And then, most importantly, we want to figure out how we can measure whether or not we're making progress on this 5-year plan and actually review that progress fairly regularly, probably campus-wide, maybe once or twice a year. But in terms of the leadership, the vice chancellors and the deans and other leaders on the campus, actually talking about those every month and sort of saying, are we tracking this? Is the strategy we developed working? And if it is, great. If it isn't, do we need to readjust? So a big piece of it is developing metrics that will measure whether or not we're achieving what we set out to do. In this era in higher education, I think it's real important to really sort of understand where do you want to be in 5 years and what's your path to getting there.
I mean, it makes all the sense in the world. I mean, having a plan is so important, but even today it feels like 5 years is such a long window of time and an unpredictable window of time.
So I've been at Platteville for 9 years. It feels like I just got there. That's how fast it goes. And understand, I mean, one of the great things about being on a campus is the way it changes. So 3 generations of students have proceeded through there in the 9 years I've been there. And that's also part of the dynamic, because it's not static. It's always changing. Now, we've had other challenges. You were asking about how much turnover there's been. Those things change too, and so part of the thing we have to understand is how do we keep the talent in place that we need to deliver on our education.
It's a competitive environment.
Yes, it is. And how do we grow talent? How do we bring somebody in the door and end up them being chancellor someday?
Yeah. We've got about a minute left. Are you optimistic? I mean, it feels like a challenging time for higher education.
Well, I'm an optimistic person.
No.
I don't think you should be in this business unless you think you can fix it and do things that are positive. The state faces a lot of challenges. The teacher shortages, figuring out the larger issues with the university, continuing to try to do everything we can to remain relevant. I think part of the bumps in the road we had 4 or 5 years ago is operating our own silo, so to speak, where we assume that everyone knows the value we add, but it doesn't work. You have to be out in front of people telling them, asking them questions, showing how you can support them, that kind of thing.
I enjoyed it, Chancellor. Thank you.
It was a great friend, Neil.
We're going to come back and wrap up For the Record right after this.
Big news, America. The President's Day sale at Denver Mattress has been extended. Save up to $500 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable sets, or get the Summit Queen, only $189.99, plus 5 years, no interest. Hurry, the extended President's Day sale at Denver Mattress ends soon.
Not gonna happen.
That's it. I'm calling Kohler about their walk-in bath.
My name is Ken. How may I help you?
Hi, I'm calling about Kohler's walk-in bath.
Excellent. Happy to help.
Huh?
Hold one moment, please. The Kohler walk-in bath features an extra wide opening and a low step-in at 3 inches, which is 25 to 60% lower than some leading competitors. The bath fills and drains quickly, while the heated seat soothes your back, neck, and shoulders. Kohler is an expert in bathing, so you can count on a deep soaking experience.
Are you seeing this?
The Kohler walk-in bath comes with fully adjustable hydrotherapy jets and our exclusive bubble massage. Everything is installed in as little as a day by a Kohler certified installer. And it's made by Kohler, America's leading plumbing brand.
We need this bath.
Yes. Yes, you do. A Kohler walk-in bath provides independence with peace of mind. Call 1-800-852-4080 and ask about saving $1,000 on a walk-in bath. Or visit KohlerWalkInBath.com for more info.
If your family is anything like this, you need quality floors from Empire today. Like durable carpet with built-in stain and pet protection. Tough wood laminate with a scratch-resistant finish. Or waterproof vinyl plank floors. Even bath time is no match. And when life happens, Empire backs every floor with great warranties. Quality floors you can count on. That's Empire today.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today.
Big news, America. The President's Day sale at Denver Mattress has been extended. Save up to $500 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable sets, or get the Summit Queen, only $189.99, plus 5 years, no interest. Hurry, the extended President's Day sale at Denver Mattress ends soon.
My thanks to Chancellor Dennis Shields and to you for joining us. We'll see you next week on For the Record.